Hey y'all, it's Farmer Brett here, your FoodCorps service member. Happy November! So as the fall weather sets in, it's getting a little chillier, and we often look forward to eating warm and comforting foods. One of my favorite comfort foods is mashed potatoes. I love making these, especially in the fall, but we're always learning that it's better to eat a variety of vegetables, not just one type, right? And so today, instead of making mashed potatoes, we're gonna make mashed cauliflower as an alternative. So let's get started. Cauliflower is a yummy vegetable that you can get at most grocery stores, whole or frozen, and both of those will work for the recipe we're using today. Cauliflower is an excellent source of vitamins and minerals. It contains some of almost every vitamin and mineral that we need. Cauliflower contains a high amount of fiber, which is really important for our digestive systems. It helps us get our food from our mouth into our belly. Cauliflower is really healthy, so we're gonna cook with it today. Did you know that we've grown cauliflower in the school garden? We've also grown some of its cousins. Cauliflower is in the Brassicaceae plant family, so another name farmers gave this veggie is Brassia oleracea. Cauliflower has a lot of really close cousins like collards, kale, and Brussels sprouts. Do you have any cousins you're close with? Cauliflower is great because the whole plant is edible. Today, we are only going to be using the florets, which is the white part, but we can save the stem and the leaves to make vegetable stock, or we can grate it with a cheese grater and saute it, which is a really yummy alternative to taco meat. You can bake it, so there's a ton of things you can do with the whole cauliflower plant. Here's the ingredients that we're gonna need for our recipe today. Ingredients are the foods that you use when you're cooking to create the final product. So first, of course, we'll need 1 head of cauliflower. Next, 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm using Earth Balance, which is a dairy-free alternative. 2 cloves of garlic, salt and pepper, and milk or a milk alternative. Before we start cooking, we're gonna wash our hands for 20 seconds with soap and warm water. You should not be using the stove or knives without an adult present, so you need a caretaker for this. So before we get cooking, I just want to review our knife safety. So we want to hold our knife on the handle with the hand that we write with, like so. Our other hand is going to be holding the veggie steady, and we want to pretend that our hand is like a bear claw, and we tuck our fingers in, under, and have our knuckles exposed to hold the veggie steady like this. This helps us to protect our fingers from the sharp knife. And when we're done using the knife, we want to put it to the side or in front with the blade facing away from us and far away from the edge of the table or the counter. So I'm going to cut my cauliflower into little pieces called florets. So this is the whole cauliflower. I'm going to take my hand, use my bear claw, and I'm just going to cut the bottom off. And remember, you can throw this away if you want or compost it, but you can also use it for later. So I'm gonna put mine aside because I think I'll use it later. One of the great things about cauliflower is that you don't necessarily need to use a knife. You can use your fingers and just tear it off like this. Great, so now we're done cutting up our cauliflower and it's time to cook it. I'm gonna steam my cauliflower. You can also boil it, both of those work. Our goal is to get the cauliflower softer so we can mash it more easily. To steam a vegetable, we're just going to put a tiny bit of water in the bottom of a pot and put on low heat. Then we'll put the lid on, which captures the steam inside the pot. We want our cauliflower to get really soft, so I'm gonna steam mine for about 15 to 20 minutes, about the same time for boiling too. Okay, so I poured my little bit of water in, I'm letting the pot boil, I'm staying far away from the fire, and now I'm gonna put my cauliflower in. So once the cauliflower is in, it should look like that. So while the cauliflower is steaming, we're gonna chop up our garlic. So we're gonna use 2 cloves of garlic. Garlic is grown in a big head that looks like this, and inside there are cloves, so we're gonna be using 2 cloves for this recipe. So again, I'm gonna have my bear claw, I'm gonna cut into the garlic, So this is what a clove of garlic looks like. When we chop the garlic, we want to get the pieces really small because garlic is super flavorful and we want that flavor to be spread all throughout the dish, not just in a few places. So we want to cut it small so as much of it can go all over the dish as possible. Have y'all ever seen this tool before? It's kind of weird looking, right? Well, this is called a garlic press and it makes it easy for us to chop our garlic into little pieces. So I'm going to use this. You can easily use a knife and chop it up. It just takes a little longer. This is how you use it. You're going to take your knife and cut the garlic just into little chunks. So this is a pretty big clove of garlic. It's easier to use the garlic press with smaller pieces. So I'm just going to put the piece in, press down, and there's our garlic. And then I can take my knife, and I'm always cutting away from me, and just cut it like so. So now that we've cut up our garlic really small, we're gonna saute it in our butter for about 2 or 3 minutes on a medium-low heat. So you'll start to notice that the bits of garlic are getting brown, and that's when you know that you can shut your stove off and we can get to step 3. To check that our cauliflower is ready, I'm just gonna use a fork and poke it and make sure that it's soft. Okay, so my fork went through really easily. It definitely seems like it's soft. Okay, so now that our cauliflower is steamed and our garlic is cooked, we're gonna put it in a blender. You can also use a food processor, and if you don't have either, that's totally okay. You can mash it up with a fork. So I'm gonna puree this, and as I'm doing that, I'm gonna slowly pour in my ½ cup of milk. That will help it mix a little bit better. So once it's pureed, your mixture should look something like this. We're gonna pour it in a bowl. So I was using a wooden spoon before, but now I'm using a rubber spatula because that's a little bit easier to get all the cauliflower out of our blender. Next, we're gonna mix in our garlic butter. Mix it up. So we're gonna mix it until it's nice and creamy like this. See how creamy it is? So now we're gonna add our salt and pepper, and remember, you can always add more if you think it needs more flavor. You can also add some Parmesan cheese or nutritional yeast if you don't eat dairy, and that'll help make it a little richer in flavor. And remember that you can add any spices you want. If you like chili powder in your mashed potatoes, you can add that to this and it'll taste great too. And that's the best thing about cooking. We can always alter recipes so that we think they're yummy. And now we have a yummy comfort food made with cauliflower. Remember back at the beginning, we talked about the many benefits cauliflower has? It's so great to have a lot of veggies in your diet, and this is another way to add them in. I hope this was as fun for you all as it was for me, and I can't wait to see you soon. Happy November!